scheme of things for Netflix, it probably makes sense. They have an existing relationship with Dave Chappelle. Right back in 2016, they gave him $60 million to do a 3 special deal. Also, probably not the best business move to be seen as a company that screwed over Dave Chappelle, given how beloved he is in the comedy community. But obviously this was a move that Chappelle appreciated and praised, because they as a business, beyond not only paying him, also listened to him when he was talking about removing content that he referred to as stolen goods. And also, very significantly in this clip, he also called on his fans to boycott the show and other streaming platforms that have not taken it down yet and are still not paying him. And though he didn't mention it by name, places like CBS All Access and HBO Max.
I'm coming to you. I'm begging you. If you ever liked me, if you ever think there was anything worthwhile about me, I'm begging you. Please don't watch that show. I'm not asking you to boycott any network. Boycott me. Boycott Chappelle's show. Do not watch it unless they pay me.
And, that is where we are with this right now. Obviously, the way Chappelle has framed this is essentially boycott me in this very specific thing regarding Chappelle's show. And I also feel like he worded it this specific way because he has been so incredibly outspoken about the problems with and how crazy cancel culture has gotten. But even with that said, I do want to pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts on this story? If you're a fan of Dave Chappelle or Chappelle's show, will you make sure you don't stream it on those other platforms? Or are you of the mindset of, no, you even said you signed the contract, it's all legal, it's all fair, I'm gonna watch it? Also, regarding Netflix, what are your thoughts about the move that they just pulled right here? Are you happy to see that? You think it doesn't matter, it was just business? Any and all thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. Also, actually, since we're already talking about Netflix, we should talk about the huge move they made in New Mexico. With Netflix now reportedly expanding its ABQ studios in New Mexico and committing to an additional $1 billion in production spending. And this is absolutely huge entertainment news because Netflix says that it's going to make ABQ Studios one of the largest high-tech and sustainable film production facilities in North America. But perhaps even more importantly and interestingly, it'll be interesting to see what happens for the state. And I mean that regarding potential economic impact, as well as does New Mexico become the new place to be for film and television production. I think that's one of the signals that officials are hoping that this move sends across the industry. And I mean, hey, it's already home to current Netflix original films like The Harder They Fall and Intrusion. It's also where Netflix filmed projects like Army of the Dead, El Camino, Godless, Daybreak, Chambers, and Messiah. Plus, we already know that certain things are moving. We know that Stranger Things, which is normally filmed in Atlanta, Georgia, will start shooting in Albuquerque very soon. Right, that's already a huge deal because Stranger Things, which of course stars people like Millie Bobby Brown, Winona Ryder, and others, is arguably one of its biggest original programs. And as far as potential economic impact, it's believed that this move will create an estimated 1,000 production jobs over the next 10 years, along with 1,467 construction jobs to complete the expansion. On top of that, the studio will bring in $150 million in capital expenditures as it adds up to 10 stages, production offices, backlots, wardrobe suites, and other buildings that support production. And then, on the other end, as part of this deal, New Mexico's government is providing $17 million in funding, and the city of Albuquerque is providing another $7 million in financing, including $6 million in infrastructure in-kind financing. And in total here, New Mexico's Economic Development Department Cabinet Secretary Alicia J. Keys said that this deal could ultimately result in $2.5 billion worth of spending in the state. So moving forward, this is definitely going to be interesting to watch, right? To see if New Mexico really does compare to places like LA, New York, Atlanta, and if it proves successful, which it very likely will, it'll just further solidify Netflix as a leader in the industry. But of course, these are just my thoughts, the story, and now I'd love to pass it off to you. And doubly so for those of you that are in New Mexico or other areas that are home to huge entertainment productions. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome brought to you by Omaze. Omaze is a fundraising platform that gives you the chance to win once-in-a-lifetime experiences and awesome prizes, all while raising money for nonprofit organizations. And I partnered with Omaze to give you all a chance to win not only a Tesla Model 3 Performance with all of the taxes and shipping included, but so much more. And the Tesla 3 Performance is just one of thousands of prizes that lead up to the grand prize, a dream house in Orlando or $1 million in cash. And for every entry to win the dream home or $1 million, you're also eligible to win one of over 3,000 other amazing prizes. And with Omaze, your entry isn't just a chance to win, it's also a chance to support a great cause. It's a donation to support the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, which is a nonprofit organization that supports children's hospitals across the United States and Canada, providing healthcare to 10 million kids each year. But yeah, to enter, just go to home.omaze.com/DeFranco, or just click that link in the description down below for your chance to win and to support this great cause. And the first bit of awesome is we got a trailer and news that Taylor Swift's concert film Folklore will debut tonight at midnight on Disney+. Then we got the honest trailer for the new Mutants. We had Kristen Stewart on Stir Crazy. Then we had Binging with Babish on The Burger Show. And the final bit of awesome today is Ready Player 2 is out. Also, I'm not saying that it is awesome. I hope that it is. I'm just very excited to actually now consume it. I really enjoyed the first book. I'm hopeful with the second book. And also, if you like the movie, you should definitely read the novel. There are a number of differences that I think you might enjoy. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about a story that it's yet another example of something that constantly happens and it grinds my gears. I'll cover something on a show, I'll release that show, and then within an hour of the episode being released, some update will happen that completely changes the story. And yesterday, that actually happened twice. One, Belle Delphine, who we talked about yesterday, her account on YouTube was actually reinstated. So hey, a win as far as treating mainstream artists the same as more independent artists, but also, we need to keep in mind it only happened after a lot of concerted backlash. So I still worry about the smaller creators there, but then also two, after 2 weeks, after dozens of lawsuits, the government has finally now begun the process of allowing Joe Biden's transition to the presidency. And this, even though Donald Trump is still not conceding, though that might be because he doesn't know what that word means. I'm kidding, he knows what that means, which is why it's also more troubling. But the main thing, yesterday we saw the administrator of the GSA, the General Services Administration, Emily Murphy, admitting in a letter that Biden was the, quote, apparent president-elect. And as far as why the GSA is important here, why you've even had to know that a human being by the name of Emily Murphy exists and in the near future can go back to not caring that she exists, is that the GSA is an independent agency within the government that has the power to direct the flow of transition resources to an incoming president. Right? It's not controlled by the executive branch, though it is technically part of it, and while Murphy was appointed by Trump, the agency is not part of the Trump administration. Yet, after it was clear that Biden had won the presidency, Murphy initially refused to sign the letter allowing Biden to begin his transition process, right? Which, understand, is something that is usually considered a very standard call. Something that has also kept Joe Biden in the dark regarding key issues like COVID-19, which, like we talked about yesterday, is an issue because him not getting those resources, him not getting into the process, that could cost countless lives. And so from there, you had a ton of people accusing Murphy, who is a former attorney for the Republican National Committee, of being influenced by the White House. However, in her letter from last night, now declaring Biden the apparent winner, she says, "I have dedicated much of my adult life to public service and I have always strived to do what is right. Please know that I came to my decision independently based on the law and available facts. I was never directly or indirectly pressured by any executive branch official, including those who work at the White House or GSA, with regard to the substance or timing of my decision." With Murphy also noting in this letter that she had, quote, received threats online, by phone, and by mail directed at my safety, my family, my staff, and even my pets in an effort to coerce me into making this determination prematurely. And as far as why Murphy took so long to sign this letter, according to the Washington Post, that was close to her, said she wanted more certainty before making the call, apparently wanting to see battleground states actually begin certifying their elections, wanting to see how Trump's legal battles would play out. With the Post also noting that there was the prospect of becoming the target of Trump's anger, which, while I personally have issue with Emily Murphy dragging her feet in a time that, once again, could cost American lives if there is a delayed response from the Biden administration because they were not able to access key information ahead of time, there is a hard to imagine amount of backlash for anyone that previously supported Trump doing anything that hurts the president. I mean, hell, even Tucker Carlson in the past week was called a traitor. That over his coverage of Sidney Powell, who the Trump administration has now even kind of had to distance themselves from. Because apparently in 2020, there is actually a level that is still considered too crazy. But that said, going back to Emily Murphy, regarding Trump's reaction to this news, he actually didn't go after Murphy, though he did appear to almost immediately contradict a thing that Emily Murphy claimed. With Trump tweeting, "Our case strongly continues. We will keep up the good fight and I believe we will prevail. Nevertheless, in the best interest of our country, I am recommending that Emily and her team do what needs to be done with regard to initial protocols and have told my team to do the same." But, okay, there's two things there. One, no, your case is not strong. We've literally seen case after case after case fail to hold up in court. And two, in that statement, it appears that he's kind of taking credit here for Murphy's decision to kickstart this process. Pretty much at the same time that Murphy insisted that she had acted on her own. And, in fact, according to the Washington Post, Murphy's team even told the White House counsel's office on Friday that she planned to designate Biden the winner on Monday. But then adding they just never heard back from the White House counsel's office. Now, because Murphy's letter gives Biden several notable resources, including access to millions in federal funds, it is important to talk about what comes next. And part of the answer there is that President-elect Biden and his team are now able to begin holding meetings with government agencies to discuss policy ahead of his inauguration. Actually, on the note of government agencies, we should talk about what that will look like under a Biden administration, because Joe Biden has now started to reveal several of his cabinet picks. In fact, on Sunday, Biden announced Tony Antony Blinken as his Secretary of State. Notably, Blinken is the former Deputy Secretary of State under President Obama, and unsurprisingly as far as policy, Blinken is going to be a very big departure from current Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Right, Blinken has been highly critical of Trump's, quote, America First policy, saying that it's only isolated the United States and in fact created opportunities and vacuums for its adversaries. And there, he's expected to help the United States rejoin major international